Decluttering, but with a twist. It's all about mindset and progress, not perfection. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. As we continue to transition seasons and discuss the importance of quality supplements, I wanted to share a special offer from my favorite supplement company, Seeking Health. You can get 10% off your entire order at Seeking Health by going to the link at my website, natalietysdal.com/favorites. It's a great opportunity to try their high-end quality products and experience the benefits for yourself. Seeking Health offers a wide range of supplements designed to support your body's natural processes. Whether you're looking to optimize your digestion, boost your energy, or improve your mental clarity, they have something for everyone. One of the things I love about Seeking Health is their commitment to quality. Their products are GMO-free, backed by a 60-day money-back guarantee, and formulated with pure, scientifically backed ingredients. My family uses them. Remember, Seeking Health supplements are not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any diseases. They're designed to support your body's natural healing processes. So if you're ready to take your health to the next level, be sure to check out natalietysdal.com/favorite. Let's embrace prevention, support our well-being, and maximize our body's healing potential. Welcome back to the Natalie Tysdal podcast. Today, we're thrilled to welcome back Katy Wells, a true expert in decluttering. In our last conversation, Katy left such an indelible mark on our listeners and our viewers that we had to bring her back for more insights. This time, we're diving deep into the mindset behind decluttering and how reframing our thoughts can lead to sustainable transformation, not just in our homes, but really in our lives. Katy shares her wisdom on overcoming the mental roadblocks. You know what I'm talking about? I have them all the time. Those roadblocks keep us stuck in things like clutter, both physical and mental. She has some very practical strategies to help us take those first steps toward a more peaceful, organized, and joyful home. Thanks for being here today. I'm so happy to come alongside you in your health journey and your self-improvement journey. Sign up for my newsletter and be sure you are following along on social media. You'll find me at natalietysdal.com. So grab a cup of tea, coffee, find a comfy spot. Join me for an enlightening conversation that's really going to inspire change. Let's get started today. Katy, thanks for coming back on the podcast. I learned so much last time we spoke, and I had such a good reaction from my listeners and viewers that I wanted to go back and talk a little more about decluttering, but I want to draw it back and get to the mindset of reframing what decluttering means.
This is so good. And I'm so excited to be back and talk about this because I think, well, I know really, I've been teaching this for so long now. And, when I got started, I was following all the strategies and methods that promised me transformation in my home. And I was like, if I just had the right strategy or checklist, or if I had the right script to tell my kid, here's how you clean up and, clean up your toys, then I'll be able to transform my home. Really oversimplifying it. But what I realized through my own journey and true transformation, sustainable transformation in my home, is that it really starts in between your ears, right? I always say the biggest change that happens with decluttering actually isn't your home. Yes, it will look better. It will feel better. It will be more peaceful and calm and inviting. And that is huge in of itself. But our mindset really has to pave the way in order for us to take action on a lot of really great information, practical tools out there, strategies. But we got to get our mindset right. And this is why I always start with a mantra: progress, not perfection. I'm sure you've heard this. I'm sure you've talk to your kids about this and your listenership, but it is so key, I think, in so many different areas in life, and really decluttering and simplifying is no exception. And I think part of the reason it feels a little, a lot different than what we hear is because, again, our culture and a lot of the way we're taught to solve clutter is really through perfectionistic tendencies, or follow this perfect step A to step Z, and then you'll get it. Or take 10 hours out of your busy day and then you'll get it, right? Kind of the doing it all at once, black and white thinking, all these things. So that has really transformed my home, really.
Progress instead of perfection. I'm so guilty of this. And And I see it even in my kids and others. It's like, just give me the script, like you said,
Yeah.
and I'll just do exactly what it's like. It doesn't have to be like that. Like, take little steps along the way. And I fall into, so let's talk about this, that freeze mode of, I've got a box over there. I know I need to go through it. I really need to declutter. But until I have just enough time, until I have an hour to do it, and my mind's in the right place, and the rest of the house is clean, and da 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 da, I'm just going to leave that box. And then the box just sits there because I've frozen.
Yeah, that freeze is so common. And like you said, in your case, it's just a box. It doesn't even have to be this huge, like, doom room, like overwhelming room.
Yeah.
And so,
And that's what
right,
it is for a lot of people, isn't it?
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
the,
it really,
it's the doom room. I like that term.
your box is a someone else's doom room, but it can happen to, it can happen to any of us. So one of my favorite strategies, if it's okay if I share one with you, for you,
Sure.
Natalie, to use with that box. This is something I learned through just helping my clients overcome procrastination, which is ultimately what this boils down to. Your brain trying to delay or postpone an uncomfortable feeling. And 9 times out of 10, that uncomfortable feeling you're trying to avoid doesn't actually come from decluttering. It comes from all the other pressures and stresses and things that are on our plate in life. So I think when we can, like, separate us and that feeling from decluttering, it kind of depersonalizes it a little bit. And it's like, oh, this actually isn't about decluttering. That's a box over there, and I'm going to tackle it. And a great science-backed tool I teach is Mel Robbins came up with that. I don't know if you listen to her show. It's
I
very
love
great.
Mel Robbins. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's her 5-second rule, if I remember correctly. And all you say out loud is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you start. And again, speaking to what you shared and the mantra, progress, not perfection, small, tiny bits, maybe you set your timer for 5 minutes before you're done working this afternoon and go, all right, 4:55 before I clock out at 5, of my at-home office, I'm going to just put 5 minutes into that box. And I promise you, just creating that momentum and getting started is often the hardest part. And once you're started, you are off to the races.
Yeah. My mom always said, I've used this before on the podcast, that action comes before motivation. Yeah. And it's just that you're not going to just sit there and all of a sudden get motivated. It's just, it doesn't, I can't think of a time ever in my life where I'm just sitting going, okay, now I'm motivated. But if I go pick up the vacuum and I just go, I'm just going to vacuum the hallway. All of a sudden I'm like, oh, this feels good. I'm going to vacuum the rest of this room and this room. And then you get excited about it, right? Motivated.
Yes. And then time doesn't become such a constraint, an issue and roadblock, right? All of a sudden we're able to make time out of thin air, it feels like, to do something because we just got started doing it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about other reframe methods. So progress instead of perfection. Something is better than nothing.
Yes.
What else?
Always. Another one of my favorites is my home should actively support and reflect our family's value and lifestyle. When I was stuck in clutter, I had so much guilt about decluttering. Like, I spent money on this. What if I need this in the future? All the classic mental roadblocks, right? And the mental kind of tug of war we have. And ultimately, for me and so many people, that leads to us clinging to clutter and not making, getting the results we deserve. And so once I switched my reframe out of that guilt, out of that shame, out of being stuck in the past, really, and focusing on money spent and this and that, I said, I really want to create a home that supports me and my family. And if you think about it, just because we bought something and used it doesn't mean we need to keep it forever, right? Yeah. And if you think about, again, you've got kids in college. Mine are 7 and 9. My kids are different than they were 6 months ago. In their early 7th and early 9-year-old age, they had different interests already. And that's a 6-month gap. Now think about how your college students, your older kids, think about how different they are compared when they're in high school or a child, right? The items in our home should actively reflect my family's lifestyle and values. And being able to do that really helped me cut through all of those mental roadblocks and go, you know what, this item served its purpose. I'm going to pay it forward to another family who is in this season, who needs this, and revolutionized so much for me and really helped me on top of that, because I wasn't doing this tug of war anymore mentally. my results skyrocketed because I was much faster at making decisions, right? Decision making is challenging. We go through this whole process and negotiation. Anytime we can cut through that and reduce the amount of time it takes to get from, do I keep this, to the decision, man, we get rid of so much more that way.
And sometimes what I see, and I'd like your take on this, I don't think we talked about this last time, is we do hold on to things and we think, well, I'm done with this, but I need to get value out of it. So it's going to sit in my garage until I find someone to buy it, put it on Facebook Marketplace, blah, 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 blah. And it's sitting there for so long. And then you end up selling it for $10. You're like, how much time did I put into that versus I could have given it away and reduced that clutter in my mind and my garage?
That's right.
But sometimes when do you know I really should get value out of this versus I need to just give it away and get rid of it?
I always tell my clients, you need to decide on your bottom dollar. I will say for a lot of us, if you are buried in clutter and you have the financial resources and capacity, the bulk of us, and just the reality of our normal American homes and the amount of stuff we have in it, which by the way is about 300,000 items.
Oh my goodness.
Try to imagine wrapping your head around selling
average
American home. That was probably a decade ago, so I'm sure it's only gone up. So if you can try and wrap your head around like, oh, I want to sell most of it. I get it. It doesn't feel good to spend money on something and use it or not, but ultimately let it go. But again, wrapping your head around the idea of most things I buy, I'm only keeping temporarily. Then you're probably going to start spending your money a little bit differently. Because again, some things I keep for longer than others, of course, but it has to actively support through joy or through function, me and my family. But back to your point about like the dollar amount, like how do we decide? Pick your bottom dollar. What is an hour of my time worth? Stay on the long side of things. Think about the time it takes to take pictures, post, talk to potential buyers, do a meetup, do a drop off. What is an hour of my time worth? And in different seasons in life, it's going to look like a different dollar amount. When my kids I had 2 kids under 2, that number was really high. It was like $100. I was like, I'm cutting my losses because I value getting this out of my house. And just like you said, Natalie, it wasn't only creating physical space. For me, it was about the mental clutter. I needed it out. I needed liberation. I needed to feel that load off my plate. Now that I'm in a different season, I'm in maintenance mode in my home. My kids are older and more independent. I'll sell something if I can get 30. So each season you can kind of quickly evaluate the best number for you.
But the amount of time we think about the clutter is what I find to be the most exhausting. Even just if I look at it, go, I need to do that. And every day I'm looking at it going, I need to do that. That's occupying space in my mind and stress.
And so again, that is a huge indicative sign that for you, just let it go. So if that means scheduling, let it go. Like quit letting that take up prime real estate in your mind. You have way more important things to think about than every time you walk past that pile of stuff. What do I do with it? Should I sell it? Should I not sell it? Right? Again, to your point, mental clutter is such a big reason we need and should declutter to begin with. It's less about our homes. Again, they'll be more beautiful, easy to tidy, huge, great benefits. But I'm worried about this in here.
Yeah. How much of this is generational, things we learn?
I would say large percentage. I mean, think about all the subconscious beliefs, the pattern. Think about how we were raised talking about listening to our parents or caregivers talk about money, or watching their spending habits, or watching their home habits or lack of, how they talked about stuff. My mom taught me more is better. My mom taught me, not knocking her, but she was always like, hey, if this is a good deal, you should buy it, because what if that deal isn't available again, right?
So get like 50 of them so that you're
yeah.
I know that's very much from my childhood too.
Yeah, but if you think about one generation before her, so her grandfather and grandmother lived through the Great Depression. You didn't get rid of anything. Declutter was not a word. You used every single thing to its breaking point. And if it broke, you fixed it, right? That was a huge resource scarcity time that is like ingrained in that generation. Yeah. And so that there's a falling off effect, right? That domino effect. So my mom soaked some of that up. I soaked some of that up. Cultural beliefs too, that were being sold through marketing and companies and this, that, and the other. So again, takes a lot of rewiring our brains to understand that, like, hey, here's the root of my clutter. Maybe you're great at decluttering. Maybe you're like, when I meet people, Natalie, this is so funny. When I tell them what I do, they're like, they either say one of two things. Most of the time they say, oh, I love decluttering, but I still really have a lot of clutter. And most of the time it's because they haven't gotten to the root of their clutter. They're great at getting stuff out. They love to organize, but the influx through this conditioning and pattern, right, we're talking about, continues to come in. So they're decluttering to reclutter. Or people say, oh, I hate decluttering. I need your help. Can you come to my house, right? But it's so important, and a big part of what I teach of this holistic decluttering method, get to the root of it. Get to the root. It doesn't mean you need to spend hours in reflection or an hour a day journaling. A lot of us innately know, but when we can identify these different patterns, and for a lot of us, they're consumer patterns, right? Buying patterns, shopping, that type of thing. It can just radically change how much easier it is to keep your home manageable and simple when the influx is slowing down.
So we're talking about two really different things. I know I'm changing topics here from the reframe we first said we were going to talk about, but I think this is important because what you talk about is not just getting rid of things. It's about how we consume things or how we purchase and bring things in to our homes. And this is a pretty big deal, I recognize, because I'm at the stage of life just ahead of you where I've had years of buying kids stuff and collecting and now all the special things they have. And, it's all kind of piled up and now they're going off to college. I'm like, oh, what am I going to do with all this stuff? And so I always say, like, we fill the space we have and then we downsize. It's like, oh, wait, we filled this big house. Now we're a smaller house. And so it's how we consume things and how we teach our kids to purchase. And so I've gotten to this place where if I'm shopping, I'm like, oh, that's a really good deal. My parents taught me, good deal, buy it now so I have it later. But I don't really need that. Do I want it? So I go through that whole mind game of, is this a want or a need? Okay, it's a want, cut it off. And I have to stop myself in the middle of that. So I guess my question in all that is the consuming part versus the getting rid of part.
Yeah. First of all, I will say kudos to you. It takes I compare a lot of decluttering to working out. Like, we're flexing our declutter muscles. We're flexing our spending or lack of spending muscles, right? When we are in Target and which by the way, spend millions of dollars designing, all these big brands do. So I think, again, once we know better, we tend to do better. They spend millions of dollars designing. Our local Target, has had a big upgrade. It looks so much like bougier and like modern now. But upgrading and designing like the end caps, how the flow of the store is, so they increase their average cart value. Why do you think they added a Starbucks? So we slow down. We enjoy our coffee as we stroll and go through all the aisles because it makes us slow down. And, oh, this is cute. And, oh, this is a good deal, right? They are smart. They want our money. But to your point on spending, I think one of the most, and this is a mindset thing. Well, it's mindset, but also like psychology. One thing that changed everything for me from a spending standpoint, because I used to buy clothes. That was my thing. I bought every single, like, anything I thought was cute, I'm buying it. Of course, that leads to clutter, right? And I got great at decluttering, needed to work on my spending. And once I realized that when we buy things, we're not truly buying things. And that sounds strange, but what we're really buying when we're buying things are emotions, our feelings, our stories, our beliefs, our aspirational identities, right? You see someone on Instagram, maybe a favorite influencer, maybe an entrepreneur. Oh, I like how she dresses. I like that car she drives. I want to feel and look like that. This is the stuff I'm talking about. It runs deep. It literally, I just got like goosebumps from it. But it's so, so true. And tying it in with the target and marketing piece or brand, whatever brand you're talking about, these companies know this. And so they position their brand or their images or their clothing. So here's the carrot. And, oh, when I get that carrot, when I buy that thing, that hat, that car, that new home, that whatever, I'm going to feel that way. But we all know how the story ends. That feeling doesn't last, right? Yeah. The goalpost keeps moving. And we have to buy something else. Oh, now it's the next thing. And so understanding that can really, really help with that spending habit.
It is so much psychology. And we talk about this with screens, but it's that dopamine. It's
Yeah.
that it feels so good to buy that. And then, wait, where am I going to put it? And then I'm cluttered. And that, yeah, I'm trying so hard. It might be my stage of life, but I think anyone who can learn it earlier, it's actually enjoying not having.
Yes, I think you're right. I think part of it comes with getting older and wiser. But I think you're right. The sooner we can learn that, truly the better. Age
Yeah.
tends to, growing older tends to teach us a lot of valuable lessons, that being one of them. And I fully agree.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about more of the reframe. So you gave me a couple of tips. What else in just getting to this place? Because
Yeah.
I think hearing this and being inspired by this, we're all learning. But what else can we do to reframe to get to this place?
So the next one I want to share with you and your listeners is my time and energy are valuable and they deserve to be protected. Think about how your time and energy, Natalie, just from that one box is not being protected. It's being squashed. You're getting frustrated. It raises your cortisol and your stress levels every single time you walk past it. It adds a mental to-do list, task in your to-do list that's probably already overflowing.
Yeah.
Right? All these different ways it's impacting us. So first, you need to believe that your time and energy do deserve to be protected. And I think that's counterculture to how a lot of us, learn, especially as busy women, busy moms with 100 million spinning plates in the air, and you're trying to make sure that they don't come crashing down on you. Yeah. Hustle culture, urgency culture tells us like, just do more, just add one more thing, just wake up at 4 a.m. instead of 5 a.m. And then you'll reach that goal. You'll do that thing. You'll be successful. You'll make that money. You'll have the perfect home, whatever it is, right? And so, coming down and talking about to something as simple as like boundaries around your time. Maybe you stop saying yes to every invitation. You stop saying yes to every cute piece of clothing your favorite influencer is promoting, and she's making mega bucks off of you being like, yes, I want this, right? Stop saying yes. Because when we say yes to things, we're saying no to something else. When we say yes to that birthday party that we really don't want to go to, or that event, or buying that thing, that means that's taking away from other areas in our life. And if we want to live slower, simpler, we have to also focus on our time and energy.
Yeah. I love that. When we say yes to something, we're actually saying no to ourselves and to our kids and to the peace of our homes. So that's so good. Such good stuff. Okay. We've already talked for 20 minutes. I get so much out of our conversation. But tell people where they can find you and how you help them, because I know this is your life. This is what you do. And your podcast, by the way, is great too. I advise people, I'll put the link in the show notes, but tell people where they can find you.
Thank you. That's so kind. I appreciate your kind words. I have come join on the podcast, Maximize Minimalist. I have just real authentic, it's a place of real authentic conversations. It's a really wonderful podcast community. And we have, behind the scenes content, stuff that's happening in my life. I'm still raising 2 boys. I share all that stuff. There's no like sugarcoating here. This is real life. And any decluttering, simplifying tips is what we're all about on the show.
Well, fantastic. Katy, thank you.